I hate to say this, but I think that women have to lower their standards. Before you go crazy on me, just hear me out. The amount of chronically single girlfriends that I know, either approaching their 30s or already in their 30s, that are like wanting to settle down and have a family, but can't, is an epidemic at this point. And we're talking about women that are financially stable, have educations, are beautiful, have their fathers in their lives, like come from nice families. Like, we're not talking about like a bum bitch. We're talking about like a very decent young lady.
What is up, everyone? My name is Carlos, aka C. Welcome to the C Talks channel. If you are new, do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching my videos lately. All right, let's get into it. I played you guys that clip at the beginning. That young woman was talking about how women need to lower their standards when it comes to dating. I agree. Let's get into it. Women need to lower their standards when it comes to dating. Let's go back to this young woman and what she's saying in her TikTok video. She says that she knows a bunch of chronically single women approaching her 30s, don't we all, slash women in their 30s who want to settle down but can't. They really can't, or they're delusional and their expectations are way too high. Let's continue. Let's talk about the statistic that everybody throws out when they talk about women being single. The stat that states that 45% of women will be single by 2030. That's from a Morgan Stanley study, which I'm going to put up on the screen right now. Check it out. So in that study, they forecasted that by 2030, 45% of women will be single. That's the largest share in history. That's the direction that we're headed in. This young woman in this TikTok video says that all these women not being able to find a man is an epidemic. I agree. Everywhere you look, you just see single women. Everywhere. Bars, clubs, supermarkets, restaurants. It's just girls with girls. Or girls by themselves. What's happening? Why are we not being able to connect as sexes, as men and women? So all these women not being able to find a man is an epidemic. This young woman continues to talk about the girls that she knows that are single. She says that they're financially stable. She says that they have an education, they're beautiful, have their fathers in their lives, and come from good families. Let me tell you what men care about. If they're beautiful, check. We care about that. If they come from good families, if they have their fathers in their lives, I care about that. What I don't care about, financially stable, I don't care about that. I'm financially stable. Has an education, I care. I like me an educated girl, but she doesn't have to have a damn PhD or a doctorate. Just educated, and I want her to know about the world and to be in the know. So that's important to me. But financially stable, I don't care about that. So let's talk more about a girl that comes from a nice family. I argue that a woman who comes from a two-parent household where her parents are together or they're married or she's seen a man and a woman stay together and work through the ups and downs of a relationship is able to be a better partner than a girl that comes from a dysfunctional household or a single parent household. And I think it has to do with coming from a place of stability and the examples that she's seen. She's seen a man and a woman go through rough patches, go through good times, go through bad times. And I think that because she's seen that example, she's more willing to go through those things with her partner versus the girl who comes from a broken home, a single parent home. She hasn't seen stability. She hasn't seen a good example of what a good, healthy relationship looks like. I think that women that have seen good relationships growing up are better able to have good relationships versus those who haven't seen these good relationships. I'm not saying that a girl that is from a broken place or a dysfunctional household can't have a good relationship, but I think it's going to be way harder for her to do that unless she goes to therapy, learns how to work through her trauma, heals herself. But it's just way more work when you come from that place versus the girl who's had the great example and the stable family. So I'm going to play another clip from the video so you guys can see what this young woman's friends' expectations are for a guy. Let's play the clip.
So I'll have conversations with my friends, and they'll say things like, oh, like, you know, I want him to make like at least $200,000 a year, like at minimum. He has to be in shape. Like, I really like a guy with a six-pack. I love a guy who's like 6'2". I need a guy with like a full head of hair. Like, I can't do bald guys.
And we're back. So let's go through this list. Her friends need a guy that makes at least $200K. He needs to be in shape. One of her friends says, I really like a guy with a six-pack. They love a guy who's 6'2", and they can't do bald guys. So these standards are very delusional. Let's go through each standard one by one. He needs to make at least $200K. In the US, 17% of all American men make over $100K. $200K, I couldn't find the stat, but I bet it's way less than 10%, maybe 6 or 7. Very few guys make $200,000 a year. So the guy needs to be in shape with a six-pack. Almost no guys have a six-pack. I should Google that. So I'm going to do some Googling/research while I edit this video. I'm going to put up on the screen just the percentage of guys that have a six-pack if I can find the stat. So if I found it, here it is. Let's continue with these delusional standards. They love a guy who is 6'2". 14.5% of all men in the US are 6 feet or taller. 3.9% are 6'2" or taller. So that's 4 guys out of every 100 that are 6'2" or taller. So if you take all these standards, be in shape, have a six-pack, make at least $200K, and the guy needs to be at least 6'2", you're looking at a guy that almost doesn't exist. He's in a novel somewhere, in a movie, on a television screen, or a theater. He almost doesn't exist. And that's why these women are single, because they want this freaking guy that doesn't exist. This dude doesn't exist. He's a fictional character. How many guys are 6'2", make at least $200K, have a six-pack? Oh, and the other requirement is they can't be bald. That guy is a movie star. That guy is freaking Tom Brady. That guy is almost non-existent. And yet these women want to date a guy like that, and that's why they're single. So let me read off the definition of delusion. Delusion is a false belief or judgment about external reality held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, i.e., you thinking that you deserve a guy who's 6'2", is in shape, has a six-pack, makes $200K, isn't bald, and you think that you deserve a guy like that and that you should date only men like that, and you don't find guys like that to date, and that's why you're single. That's delusional. You normally don't find guys like this out in the wild. You have to really do some digging and searching. You have to hunt for these guys. They almost don't exist. And this is why these standards are delusional. I've talked about my theory as to how women got so delusional, and I think social media has a lot to do with it. Social media can create a bubble where you just see things that you want to see. Social media puts you in like a fantasy land dynamic, right? How do algorithms work? Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. The algorithm analyzes what you like to see and what you stay watching the most, and it promotes you this sort of content. So if you just look at 6'2" guys online all day on Instagram and TikTok, you're only gonna get this in your feed, and then you start thinking, wow, these 6'2" guys are so interesting. They drive fast cars, they have a ton of money, they're professional fighters, athletes. I want to date guys like this. And then you leave your house and look around, and these guys are nowhere to be found because the only time you see them is on your phone while using an application whose job it is to show you things that you like. It's not reality, folks. It's Instagram. It's social media. It's not real. And this is why so many women are single. They need to lower their standards. All right. Appreciate you all watching. My name is Carlos, aka C. If you liked this video, you'll also like this other video up on the screen. I'll be back with more videos next week. Appreciate you watching.